This is the Foglie stackable ring, inspired in the movement of autumn leaves falling and dancing with the wind. It's one of my favorite signature designs, made out of 2 or 3 independent rings which can be worn together or by separate. And I make them in different gemstones for my customers to choose the color combination. Hello, I'm Romina, a jewelry designer and metalsmith, and today I'll show you how I made a special variation of this design with a custom stone for my client and my experience making a new kind of stone setting. For this project, I worked with this beautiful emerald gemstone in a drop shape and some tiny 1.4 bright cut zirconia, which add a little sparkle and make a perfect pairing with the emerald. This gemstone has a pretty green tone, but it's really complicated to set because of its shape. The cut is way too high and curved, so I tried to carve the bezel in solid metal, but in the end I decided to make a tall double bezel like this, out of 2 silver strips. These pieces will be mounted in the ring base of my Foglie design, which has to be filed in shape to fit the final settings. This order was a custom piece to complement a previous Foglie ring for my client, so I had to arrange the gemstones in a way that they can be worn together as a stackable ring or by itself. And I decided to go with 3 to 4 zirconia accents. As I have limited space for them and I'm not that experienced with prong settings, I tried making my own prong system out of solid wire, which is way more comfortable for me to work with. I don't know if this is a proper system, but I'm a self-taught jeweler, so I just made it on the way like always. To make the micro bezels, I'm using this square 2mm silver wire. First, I flatten the top with a file and mark the center to start drilling. This is a new carving I made in my bench pin, and it's really useful to hold this piece when drilling. You can check more bench pin modifications in my previous video. When drilling, I rotate the wire to make sure that the hole is straight and keep going until I have a good guideline to start with the burrs, about 1.5 mm into the material. To make the prongs, I cut a guideline with my 6/0 saw blade in the opposite faces to make a cross, and start filing from the sides and on top to make an opening. Slowly taking off material and trying to get the same height in all of the faces. Next, I used a ball burr to open the center hole and a pointed cylinder burr, like this, to make the setting for the stone. I tested the height several times by mounting the zirconia and cut a little bit more until it looks like this. A little bit taller than the stone, well leveled and with a perfect fit. To give the prongs a more finished rounded shape, I took the stone out and used a cupboard manually to slowly round the tips. To join the setting to the bezel, I cut about 1 mm below the bezel height. This way they can be soldered and the prongs won't be in the way of the setting for the emerald. After making several of these, it's finally time to mount them and choose the design. I really like this shape as a solitaire ring, but as it's going to be used as a stackable ring, I have to make them work together too. So I tried several combinations, and these 3 stone shapes is the one I like the most, because it looks more balanced. To join the settings, I first soldered the bezel and central prongs to align them, and I made a new opening on the back for the emerald to get more light. To mount the settings on the ring, I marked and cut the center line and soldered the other prongs in place. After sewing out the settings section from the silver sheet, I filed them and rounded a bit to make the final solder to the ring base. For the finishing process, I used fine sandpaper until number 3000 and made the branch texture with a burr and dark patina. And then sand again to remove the excess. Once the sanding is finished, I put the stones in place and set them manually with a square pusher and clean up with a pointed burnisher. To give a more delicate appearance to the prongs, I rounded them with a number 10 grain tool. Now the final polish and the ring is finished. I really like the final result, and even if I know it's not perfect, it was my first time trying this kind of setting, so I'll just have to keep practicing. Thanks for joining me in this little adventure, and see you next time!